Hey everyone, welcome back to Yusuf Reacts. Today, we're diving into the psychological thriller, The Devil Knows You, released in 2013. Buckle up, because this movie takes us on a twisted journey through paranoia, mystery, and fear. Directed by Jason Hawkins, this film stars Eileen Dietz, who delivers a chilling performance. Let's break down the plot, analyze key scenes, and discuss what makes this movie a standout in the thriller genre. Our story begins with a young woman named Karen, played by Dara Davy, who moves into a secluded house to escape her troubled past. But peace is the last thing she finds. Strange occurrences and eerie visions make her question her sanity. As Karen's grip on reality loosens, she encounters a mysterious figure, played by Eileen Dietz, who seems to know more about Karen's past than she should. The suspense builds as we're left wondering if these events are real or just figments of Karen's imagination. One of the key scenes that stands out is when Karen discovers a hidden room in her house. The cinematography here is top-notch, using shadows and light to create an atmosphere of dread. The tension is palpable as she uncovers relics from the past that hint at the house's dark history. This scene is a perfect example of how The Devil Knows You excels in building psychological horror. Now, let's talk about the characters. Karen, our protagonist, is complex and layered. Dara Davy does a fantastic job portraying her descent into madness. We feel her fear and confusion as she tries to make sense of the supernatural events around her. Then there's the enigmatic character played by Eileen Dietz. Her presence is haunting, and she brings a certain gravitas to the role that keeps viewers on edge. Is she a ghost, a figment of Karen's fractured mind, or something even more sinister? The Devil Knows You delves into themes of guilt, redemption, and the haunting nature of past sins. The house itself is a symbol of Karen's mind, filled with dark corners and hidden secrets. As Karen unravels the mysteries of the house, she also confronts her own inner demons. This dual exploration of external and internal horror is what makes the film so compelling. So, what makes The Devil Knows You a must-watch? It's the perfect blend of psychological thriller and supernatural horror. The performances are gripping, the atmosphere is chilling, and the story keeps you guessing until the very end. The daughter of once famous actress is faced with her mother's dark past. Kathryn Vale Lena Olin is a reclusive ex-movie star with a dark secret and a daughter hoping to follow in her mother's movie star footsteps. When Kathryn attempts to make a career comeback, she is threatened by an anonymous blackmailer. The resulting events force Kathryn to confront the truth about herself and those around her. Zoe attempts to elicit jealousy from her mother by pretending to surpass her success. After lying about the success of an audition, Zoe is disappointed to find that Kathryn is proud of her. And the lie grants Kathryn the confidence to return to showbiz. The ineffectiveness of Zoe's ruse angers her more. It is revealed that Zoe is having an affair with her mother's new husband, Jake Dean Winters. As Jake dresses in Zoe's apartment, he establishes that he does not miss Zoe when he is with his wife. Zoe is offended. His visit with Zoe is interrupted by her mother. While Jake hides in Zoe's apartment, Kathryn tells her daughter that she has received a threat about the suspicious death of her former husband. When Kathryn leaves, Jake confronts Zoe, accusing her of sending the threat. Zoe denies involvement. The harassing mail continues, and Kathryn resorts to a mansion in the woods to hide away. Kathryn's beloved assistant, Eddie, joins her in the woods sans invitation. Soon Zoe and Jake follow. In the remote mansion, flashbacks show that Zoe seduced and then killed Kathryn's former husband just to spite her. It is also revealed that Eddie and Zoe have conspired to destroy Kathryn's new marriage by causing her to doubt Jake's innocence in the threatening letters. Kathryn trusts Jake too much, so the scheming dual plot to fake the murder of Zoe in order to instill more doubt about Jake. The quiet house is awakened by gunshots in the middle of the night. Eddie runs to Zoe's limp body. Jake barely sees the crime scene, but assumes that Zoe is dead, so he runs to shield Kathryn from the sight. Kathryn brandishes a gun at Eddie and Jake, demanding answers about Zoe's whereabouts. Impatiently, Zoe reveals that she is alive and kills Jake in the midst of the interrogation. After killing Jake, Zoe explains that she expected Kathryn to lose trust in him long ago. Zoe runs outside for air and is chased by her shocked mother. Zoe says that she refuses to go to jail, but Kathryn is exasperated and says she will not protect Zoe anymore. Zoe threatens to blame her mother for Jake's death, but Kathryn walks away in apathy and relief. In fear, Zoe pleads to her mother for help as the police approach, but Kathryn keeps walking with a smirk. 1 year later, Kathryn and Eddie sit in the back of a limo reveling in the glory of Kathryn's return to the big screen. A radio announcement is made of Kathryn's Oscar nomination in the wake of public sympathy. Kathryn and Eddie smile. "I just watched Rosamund Pike's return to center and was hoping this movie would be better. In fact, it was a lot worse. Many of the scenes had no point. Most of the actors were way too serious and uncomfortable looking. The directing was awful and this film was a complete waste of time. There was no tension that a thriller usually has. It was too tedious and seemed like nobody even wanted to make this movie. I don't get it, because Lena and Pikes are pros, especially Lena Olin, who's been doing movies forever. It doesn't make sense that they would put out such a poorly made movie like this. The ending was beyond stupid. The movie scores or music was the best part, actually the only good part. Except for the constant filming of the girl's legs in the movie. Adley, The Devil You Know does very little with it. It took a long time to be released, and it is very easy to see why. There are two redeeming qualities. One is some nice shots at the start, like the opening with Zoe and the water fountain, which were quite moody and stylish. The other is the performance of Pike, who, like in the recent return to center, does a very admirable job with material that is quite frankly beneath her. She is also the only one who looks involved and seems natural. As much as this is going to sound like hero worship, when it actually isn't, as there is the acknowledgement that, along with some great work, she has had misfires. She is not to be judged like she has been based on a thread on her message board regarding her facial expressions, which resorted to hyperbole and insults. Solely on performances in Jack Reacher, Wrath of the Titans and Doom. Those films did nothing for her talents and gave her virtually nothing to do. Even the best of actors would struggle to bring believability to the material she was given in them, something that all her detractors on that thread ignored. Unfortunately, the rest of the cast struggle. Lena Olin has the film's most nonsensical character, and practically sleepwalks through it. Any acting talent is clearly forgotten here. Dean Winters, who has shown skill in comedic roles and playing it straight, looks very uncomfortable. Never have seen him so out of his depth, actually. As for Jennifer Lawrence, her appearance is so brief it can be forgiven. If one questions whether she was in this at all, a complete waste, and waste of talent is one of the worst things a film can commit, in my view. There is no natural chemistry, well-stilted dialogue, lazy direction stylistically and dramatically, and nonsensically written characters that, apart from Zoe, were impossible to relate to, do nothing in their favor, instead working against them. The Devil You Know is very lazily directed, with shots that border on self-indulgent, like a mix of a glorified fashion show and pornographic-like shots of legs. Complete lack of engagement with the story and literally non-existent direction of the actors. The editing is so dizzying and slipshod it is sometimes hard to make out what's going on. The look of the film is drab and poorly lit, even for a mystery thriller. The script throughout is laughable and the embarrassment on people's faces could be seen very clearly. The story is a complete failure, and for me the worst component of the entire film. Which is saying a lot for a film that has so little to recommend it. There is absolutely no suspense or tension, it takes far too long to get going and remains tedious throughout. It is far too thin to sustain the running time, and the red herrings were either underdeveloped or incredibly confusing, which gave the devil you know such a confused feel that the worst parts bordered on the incoherent. Overall, aside from some nice shots at the start and Pike, the devil you know is a mess. To tense Bethany Cox.